In April 2023, Officer Scott Harrell, a 4-year veteran of the Texas City Police Department, allegedly initiated a traffic stop after observing a vehicle speeding and cutting through parking spaces at a gas station. Officer Harrell approached Christopher Scholl, the driver, and informed him about the alleged violations. Scholl denied any wrongdoing, stating that he was not speeding, that he regularly took the direct path through the parking lot to the gas pumps. Despite Scholl's compliance and explanation, Officer Harrell accused him of disregarding traffic control devices and threatened to issue a citation.
Where I'm stepping out of traffic here, buddy. Don't walk up to my car, please. Don't walk up to my car, please. Hey, man, you can't drive through the parking lot like that. You got your driver's license insurance? Any weapons in the car I need to worry about? Or did you catch my traffic?
Yes, sir. Have you on traffic button?
Robert John Lincoln, 4732. Robert John Lincoln, 4732. Traffic 27.
Sorry.
14, 41, 65, 88. 4, 41, 65, 88. Is there any particular reason why you felt you needed to come through the parking lot like that?
I didn't think I did anything wrong. I just came over to get gas.
You were speeding and you cut through parking spaces. No, you can't do that.
It's just going to be confirmed on Robert.
I didn't think I was doing anything, man.
I mean, you
All
walked
I
around.
was coming to get gas.
Yep. Oh, are we gonna go back and forth, or are you just gonna?
You asked me a question. You want me to answer it or not? I'm not.
Okay.
If anything, I thought I was going even slower than normal.
No, sir. You
Normally, people don't even park where you park, and that's the direct path to the gas pumps.
through the parking spaces. Is the direct
I do realize that. I know that there's parking spaces there.
And you almost hit that car that was turning right there. I was watching, man.
The traffic stop was initiated on private property, and Texas law generally does not enforce traffic laws in parking lots, driveways, or alleys. Therefore, it can be argued that Mr. Scholl was unlawfully detained by Officer Harrell.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, the officer asked the man to show his license and checked it within his system if there was anything suspicious, but everything was clean.
So,
I'm not kidding you either, man. I come here every day, dude.
look, I'm not.
I send pictures of my wife the price of the gas here every day when I come through.
Okay, look.
So anyway,
Here's the deal, man. Okay. I'm not gonna go back and forth and all that. I'm not gonna write you tickets, but the only reason I'm not writing you tickets is because I'm out of tickets right now. Okay, otherwise you would be receiving a citation.
for what? What did the citation? I'm just curious.
Disregarding traffic control device.
On private property?
Yes.
Okay.
You still can't do that. It's still illegal.
Okay.
During the interaction, Officer Harrell demonstrated a power trip, unlawfully detaining Mr. Scholl and making false accusations against him. Despite Mr. Scholl's attempts to de-escalate the situation, Officer Harrell persisted in his aggressive behavior. Nevertheless, Officer Harrell continued to escalate the situation by accusing Scholl of reckless driving and threatening to arrest him. Eventually, Officer Harrell arrested Mr. Scholl, claiming he believed Scholl would continue to engage in unsafe behavior in the future.
I was sitting right there. He came through the parking lot and cut through all the spaces. He came through so fast and whooped into here, and there was a white truck. The white truck had to slam on its brakes. So I come over here. I was just gonna be like, "Hey, man, chill out. Like, chill out. Don't be like that." But he wanted to go back and forth and argue with me and give me all kinds of stuff. And like, I didn't have any tickets and I didn't grab a rider this morning. So I was like, "Man, look, it doesn't have to go this way." He kept going back and forth, back and forth. So I was like, "All right, sure."
Another officer arrived at the scene, and Officer Harrell recounted the situation, portraying himself as the victim and Mr. Scholl as the aggressor. However, Officer Harrell realized his misconduct and decided to handle the situation differently. He cited Mr. Scholl for disregarding traffic control devices and allowed him to leave.
What motorcycle?
Well, it shows no longer customer. Okay, I see you sign right here. It's not a mission guilt.
Repeat your last?
Mr. Scholl is no longer a customer. It's not an admission guilt. It's just a promise you'll contact the court on or before the date and time that's written on here. You can contact the court at the bottom here. The information's there, and also up there. Free to go, sir.
Following the incident, Officer Harrell was placed on administrative duty and is under investigation by the Internal Affairs Department. The Texas City Police Department has strict policies against violating individuals' rights during encounters. Chief Joe Stanton announced that the results of the investigation will be made public once a final disposition is reached. Mr. Scholl, who considers himself pro-police, viewed the traffic stop as unjustified and a violation of his rights. He plans to take the case to trial and is considering civil action against the department. He has set up a GoFundMe campaign to cover legal fees for the potential lawsuit. And now let's move to another video. In a recent encounter involving the Cleveland Heights Police Department, a female officer was observed recklessly pulling in front of another vehicle while conducting a traffic stop. The driver of the other vehicle, who narrowly avoided an accident, began recording the incident on his mobile phone.
1 second!
Go back.
8-1 radio, stand by. It's going to be on Mayfield across from the first access road. Send me another unit because another party does not know how to yield to lights and sirens, and he's sitting here recording me. Say they almost ran him off the road. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Officer Lewis with Cleveland Heights. The reason I'm for the traffic stop is the plates on the vehicle are expired.
Yeah,
not even a big deal. Do you know that guy behind me in the Porsche?
I was trying to hurry up and move
You're
over.
good. No, you're good. You did the right thing. I put my lights out and sirens. He did not move over.
As the officer stepped out of her patrol vehicle, the officer expressed his concern over the near collision. The officer instructed the driver to wait while she proceeded with the traffic stop. However, the driver patiently parked behind the patrol vehicle and continued recording. The officer initially admitted her mistake and apologized to the driver, but during their conversation, she suddenly changed her stance, blaming the driver for her own errors.
Apologize.
You almost ran me off the road.
I initiated my lights and
I didn't hear
sirens.
anything.
What, was your music on? Because I had the lights and sirens on, sir.
You apologize.
I apologize.
You're wrong.
He stopped
I'm gonna let it
abruptly. Okay, I'm not wrong. The lights and sirens were activated.
You ran me
Okay,
off the road
I did not
almost.
do that, sir. The lights and sirens on my
you apologize.
marked patrol because he stopped abruptly, causing me to stop
And I almost
abruptly,
caused an
causing
accident.
you to stop abruptly.
Right.
And I apologize for that. However, the lights and sirens were on. Okay, the police vehicle is marked. You can clearly see it's a marked patrol vehicle. I initiated lights and sirens. I'm not going to argue, and I'm telling you I do. I'm going to tell you I do apologize that he did stop
But I'm
abruptly.
gonna tell you the disconnect.
Nobody was
I'm
wrong.
gonna tell you the disconnect, right? So between the public and you as a public
You want
servant,
me to just that driver check? Okay.
if it's something wrong and you actually
Yeah.
did it, all you say, my bad. I'm
And I
sorry,
did. I just
and
said.
keep going.
I said my bad. I said I activated a I initiated a traffic stop in a marked vehicle with lights and sirens.
Right.
If you didn't hear the sirens or see the lights,
I mean, you called back up to your place.
Well, I called back up because somebody was getting out of a cop car.
The situation escalated when the officer called for backup and her supervisor, a sergeant, arrived at the scene. The sergeant immediately confronted the driver, accusing him of obstructing and interfering with the traffic stop despite not being present during the initial interaction. The sergeant failed to articulate if the driver was being detained or not, but he continued to escalate the situation.
You called back up for your safety, but
Well, you don't pull up behind an officer on a traffic stop.
you don't even know what's wrong.
You're right, I don't.
So why are you saying that?
Because I'm here and what you're doing right now is against the
You
law.
almost ran me off the road.
Okay, well then you should have pulled over for lights and sirens. She said it on the radio that you didn't yield. And it's on dash cam, I'm assuming.
This the disconnect, man.
Sir,
I'll tell you what, let her finish her business and then we can sit down and talk like
we're good.
adults.
I'm gonna let him go. We're good. I'm gonna let him go.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry. What was your last name?
My last name?
Yeah.
Why you need my last name?
Because I'm asking who I'm talking to. You asked me who you were talking to.
Well, now you're going to be under arrest because what you're doing is illegal.
Listen.
What you're doing is illegal. I can charge you for interfering with
What? Just give me your last name.
Why?
Because I'm conducting business with you right
I'm
now.
not being entertained. Where my friend
You want to be.
10-4. That's not
That's
going
not
to
how
be
it
the
works. What's your
driver.
RS?
Stand by.
What's your reasonable articulate
Okay.
suspicion of my crime?
I'm going to get rid of him.
Hold on, I'll explain to you, okay?
Am I being detained?
With you right
Am I
now.
being detained?
If you want to be.
10-4. That's
No, that's
not
not how it
going to be the
works.
driver.
What's your RS?
Stand by.
My RS.
Reasonable articulate
Okay.
suspicion of my
Okay,
crime.
here,
gonna get
first,
rid of
okay, hold on. I'll explain it to you, okay? Doing what you're doing right now.
No, sir, she almost ran me off the road.
Okay, again, you didn't yield to lights and siren. You came
She
out.
was next to me and stopped and almost ran me off the road.
Okay,
What are you you talking
Okay,
about?
listen to me. You asked my reasonable articulable suspicion. It's not
I'm
a probable
not under
cause.
arrest. If you arrest me, you violate my rights.
I don't want to arrest you. We have to
You're
ID
going to
you.
violate my rights. That's what you're going to
Okay,
do?
we have to ID you. You understand that? Yes, we do.
All right, I'm going to videotape it.
Okay, we got you on camera
I'm
too.
going to call. They can come get the car. You're violating my rights.
Come getting. Who's getting what car?
They can come. You're going to arrest
Ready
me,
another
right?
car here. I got a male who's obstructing.
No, I'm not.
No, he's
She
refusing to
almost
identify
ran me off
himself.
the road.
So I'll take a report on it, but I need your ID.
No.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with her.
The driver explained what had transpired to the sergeant, but both officers insisted on obtaining his identification, even though no crime had been committed. The sergeant eventually handcuffed the driver, alleging obstruction and interference.
Listen,
Right.
I'm asking you to identify yourself so I can let my dispatcher know who I'm out with. If you don't identify yourself, that is obstruction. You are the one that came
Obstruction
out.
is a secondary crime.
It's
What crime did I commit?
There's no crime, but I'm
no crime, I
I'm
don't need to
identifying you. Okay.
Thank you.
I need your driver license.
Look, man, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to arrest you if you don't identify yourself.
She just said it was no crime.
It is
Listen.
a crime. Obstructing is a
What
crime.
crime?
Obstructing
You have
is a
to
crime.
Identify yourself, guys.
She almost ran me off the road.
And then I still have to identify you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna call them to get the car. You can arrest me.
Okay, turn around. Turn around.
Because I didn't do anything.
Okay, turn around. Turn around.
I didn't do anything.
Listen, just all you have to do.
I don't have my ID with me.
Okay, what's your cell phone?
Your date of birth. That's all we asked for.
For what?
But because I need to let my dispatcher know. It's not a big deal. Last
What's wrong
name,
with
sir.
you? Kern, man.
Kern.
You know what happened. Why are you letting
Listen,
him do this?
he's a sergeant.
He's violating my rights.
He is not.
Come
You
here, have a
didn't
seat. We're going to give you a
identify
ticket when we
yourself.
send you on your way. You have valid driver's license?
Yeah, I do. You violate my rights,
Yeah,
man.
were you getting a ticket for interfering with the crash?
How did I interfere? She almost ran me off the road.
And you could have pulled off and waited and called.
I did wait when she said wait.
You were out here talking to her. Have a seat.
Mr. Kern, just
Don't
have,
push me,
Have
man.
a seat.
Why are you so full of machismo, man?
Dude, have a seat. I'm not putting up with your okay? Have a seat.
What's wrong with you, man?
Have a
I'm
seat.
sitting down.
All the way in.
if he
He's going for
checks,
obstructing. Or he's getting a
you're
ticket for
gonna.
obstructing. Is he valid?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the radio to say. What? So this is what happened.
Uh-huh.
That vehicle matched the description of the vehicle from Weird yesterday.
Okay.
I saw it. I initiated a traffic stop.
Okay.
That person, instead of like pulling over, he stopped abruptly.
Okay.
And I'm getting behind him, but he stopped abruptly. This guy was very close to him,
Okay.
and we almost did get into an accident
Okay.
because that driver stopped so
You have your
abruptly.
license on?
I did, yes.
Gets a ticket for
He
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this.
okay.
He's getting a ticket for
Radio, you want to change your read back on that? Yes, I have it.
emergency vehicle.
Yes, radio, I do. That's why I provided it.
Goes to a Demetrius Raphael Kern. It's a 37-year-old male. He's valid. That's one.
So you get the ticket and then you can come to
It.
the fight.
Listen, I don't feel like I need to give him a ticket for that. It.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
cool
then
with
he goes
just.
for obstructing.
Okay, I mean, I'm cool with letting him go. He
Right.
just, I didn't understand.
He's in handcuffs.
And he's being
He
a jerk.
obstructed. He obstructed. He refused.
This was a baseless assumption, as the driver had simply waited on the side of the road until the officer finished her traffic stop. The driver provided his information to the officers, although he was not legally required to do so. The sergeant's behavior demonstrated an unjustified power trip, while the first officer seemed to acknowledge her mistake and attempted to rectify it.
You guys got a
Mr.
lawsuit
Kern,
coming.
just hang on. Just
You got a
hang on.
lawsuit coming.
Listen, let me explain to you. You don't get out of the car yet. The sergeant wants me to give you a ticket for obstruction, okay? I'm not going to
know I
do
didn't.
anything else.
I didn't.
Listen, he's the boss.
You
This
did. You
is,
refused
he
to
is the
identify
boss.
yourself on a legal-
I don't have to refuse if I didn't commit a crime. This isn't a stop and ID state.
At this point, it is a traffic stop because you're
You
out on a
almost ran me
traffic
off
stop.
the road.
Mr.
You
Kern,
know
we
it.
just had that conversation. I did not almost run you off the road.
That Tesla has cameras in it. So
Okay.
you guys are going to pay for this.
That's fine.
Come to court.
All right, Joe.
Mr. Kern, I apologize. I really do. And this is on body cam, alright? This is, the sergeant's telling me to do this, so listen, I'm just doing what I'm told to do, alright?
Afterwards, the driver was released from handcuffs, but the sergeant insisted on pursuing charges. The first officer apologized to the driver, stating she was just following orders. The driver expressed his intention to take legal action against both officers and the police department, citing violation of his rights.
Here's your property.
Hold on, let me get this hand.
Sure.
Hey, let's push it one more.
Thank you, Rusty. Do you want to sign or are you going to refuse? All right, I'm going to give you a copy of it.
guys violated my rights. You know.
Well, we'll all be in court.
Ultimately, the driver received a citation and a court date for obstruction. However, just 11 days later, the prosecutor filed a motion to dismiss the case due to a lack of evidence. The driver plans to proceed with a civil lawsuit against the officers and the department. On August 7, 2020, officers Jordan Horn and Dalton Martin of the McDowell County Sheriff's Office of West Virginia visited the 66-year-old named Donnie Harrison and his wife Ventress, who is 63, as they were sitting on the front porch of the house, which was rented from the ex-military officer named Jason. The deputy came in and asked questions related to 4 marijuana plants that were planted nearby. So let's watch the video further and see what happens.
Just because in the season that we're living in, I think it's important that I have your names.
What do you mean, man?
A lot of crazy stuff going on.
When the law enforcement officials came to the Harrisons' home, the elderly woman greeted them by saying "season" before inquiring about the officers' identities. When the officer inquired as to what she meant by that, she responded that there are numerous occurrences taking place and that she's inquiring about the name of their security.
Police officers in this area to come up and say, "Are you growing marijuana?" That is preposterous to me.
It's just a question, man.
Yeah, well, I get that.
She gives off the impression of being irritated as she asserts that the officers from the surrounding area came and questioned them if they were growing marijuana there, which the speaker finds to be a ridiculous request.
And so then my only question to you is your names, just so it's okay in my own heart and mind. And when I say the season we're living in, you know the season we're living in.
Y'all concerned about something over here at this house?
In order to defend himself, the officer claims that it is only a question, to which the lady responds in an unprompted manner that she understands, and she's merely requesting the officer's name for her own mental and emotional well-being.
This house?
No, that house.
Yes. Who lives there?
Mr. Ferguson, he's probably there now, he's 79.
Jason, the owner of the residence, interjects himself into the conversation and inquires of the police about whether or not they check the other house, where the police will inquire about the person who resides there by asking for their name.
All right, what's your name, sir?
Jason Tart.
Jason Tart.
Tart.
And what do you mean by the season we're living in, ma'am?
Sir.
What do you need? You got any questions for me?
No, I'll collect some information from you in a minute, your name and date of birth and such.
The lady responds to the person who's living in that house.
What do you need my information for?
You own these 2 homes, correct?
What
Okay,
these 2 homes got to do with that?
These 2 homes is near that marijuana grow, so I'd just like to have your name.
You know how many people go through here?
I understand.
That's not going to...
The officer then asks the name of the individual standing beside the lady, where Jason introduces himself and asks the lady what does she mean by the term season, in which the owner of the house jumps in and says what the officer requires.
Do you one bit of good?
Well, sir, I'm going to need your name and date of birth, and I have that.
I feel comfortable giving you my name
Where the officer replies by stating he is just collecting information.
and date of birth.
Okay, well, this is a criminal investigation. You own these 2 homes, so by law, you do have to give me your name and date of birth, sir.
If he gives you a reason, yes, you do.
Reason for what?
Because of the marijuana grow.
It's not on my property.
Okay, well, again, I have reason to believe that.
Jason asks why is he collecting information, to which the officer replies that he owns the property and his property is nearby where the marijuana was grown. Jason responds that it's not on his property. The officer states that he believes it can be a possibility that the nearby houses are also connected with the marijuana planting, so Jason has had to give his name and date of birth due to law regulations.
Scared
Who
you
says that? Who
by asking you a question?
comes up and asks? That's crazy.
And it scared you?
I'm trying to understand what
It scared you by me asking you a question.
Growing marijuana?
And that's a question. To say somebody scared you because they asked you a question is ridiculous.
That's preposterous.
Go ahead and give me your name, sir.
Wait.
First name.
It's ridiculous to you, sir.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
it's not ridiculous.
Your
to
first
me.
name.
I'm not giving you my information.
Sir, if you refuse to give me your information, I'm going to arrest you.
That's fine. My property has nothing to do with any marijuana whatsoever.
You gonna arrest me if I don't give you my name and date of birth?
It's obstructing an officer.
Jason Tart initially refused to give his name and date of birth when the deputies requested it. He argued that the alleged marijuana plants were not on his property and therefore he did not need to provide his information. However, the deputies insisted that he was required by law to provide his name and date of birth due to the proximity of his properties to the alleged marijuana plants.
No, I'm hindering you from doing your job.
Really going out off the
Yeah, this is how you guys.
This is bad.
This is
112 control.
This is how you operate.
This is a wrap.
I'm hindering you from doing your
That's why
job.
I needed their.
Y'all need to go inside. Again, you two go inside. Go inside.
I'm afraid.
Go
now,
inside.
I'll tell you the truth.
Go inside.
On my own porch?
No, go inside as of right now.
Tell me why.
Go inside.
What are you doing,
Step off
man?
the porch. Step off the porch.
I'll step off.
Go inside.
What are you doing? This is unnecessary for
Sir,
you to be
go
doing.
inside.
He's standing on his own porch.
Go inside.
During the interaction, when Mr. Harrison began filming the encounter between the deputies and Mr. Tart, Deputy Martin forcefully pushed the Harrisons into their home. He specifically pushed Mr. Harrison into the doorway and closed the door behind him, effectively preventing him from continuing to record the incident.
Come on.
Look,
Walk.
man, don't
Walk.
listen.
Sir,
You don't
stop.
have to listen,
You're
man.
being
Listen.
recorded.
Listen. This
Just
is
walk.
listen.
Walk.
Listen.
Walk.
Listen. I can walk.
Walk
I
to
can
the car.
walk
Okay,
without
well,
you
walk.
putting your damn hands on
Walk
me. You
to the
understand?
vehicle.
I have not broken the law.
The officers forcefully started putting handcuffs on Jason. He tried to stop the cop and told them he can walk wherever they want him to, but don't put the handcuffs on, stating that he didn't break any law to be handcuffed.
Walk to the
At
vehicle.
all.
Well, walk to the vehicle,
Don't
sir.
put
You're
your
being
damn
recorded.
hands on me. I give
Sir.
you no reason to touch me.
I'm going to arrest you then. Place your hands behind your back.
Uncalled for.
Place your hands behind your back.
Put your hand behind
Place your hands behind your back.
Listen.
Just relax, okay?
Listen.
Just relax.
Place your hands behind
Okay.
your back. Please place your hands behind your back.
My hand is behind my.
Place your
It
hands
only
behind-
takes one of you.
Place your hand-
Look, let him do it.
The officers then directed Jason to walk towards their vehicle. Still, the argument was going on, and Jason stated that it was all uncalled for. The police officer put the handcuffs on Jason at that point and told the other officer to leave his hand and let the other officer put on the cuffs.
He owns two properties right here on this Baptist Drive road. We located a marijuana grow, probably not 100 foot, 50 foot from this last property of his, and he just won't give us his name, date of birth.
The officers took Jason towards their vehicle, made him sit inside, and updated their heads about the situation, stating that Jason's not providing his ID and credentials when asked for, and lives approximately 50 to 100 feet away from the scene where the marijuana was found.
What now?
The person on the other end asked about Jason's appearance, and when heard that he was a black man, the officer put marijuana inside the car's back as a piece of evidence, due to which Mr. Jason was charged with obstruction of the law officer, but the case was allegedly dismissed as the prosecutor on October 2020, as Officer Martin failed to appear in front of the court. The statement highlights that despite the potential challenges posed by qualified immunity, it acknowledges that the deputies did not behave in a professional, calm, and polite manner throughout the encounter. It recognizes the efforts made by Mr. Jason and the Harrisons to exercise their constitutional rights and take appropriate legal action following the incident. The statement commends their courage in initiating a lawsuit after their rights were infringed upon. It expresses curiosity about the outcome of the legal issues involved and how they will be resolved in the future.
We thought we had seen it all, from mass murders, psychopaths, hooligans, and serial killers to even presidents. Cops have been on a roll arresting people of all types, but have seen cases where they arrest FBI agents. Were they rightly arrested? And do wrongful arrests of law enforcement officials call for the arrest with heavier punishments? Join us as we check a look at bizarre cases where dumb decisions from cops take them to rather odd position. So why don't we just kick things off with a crossover story of an FBI agent who has been wrongfully jailed? In our first case, the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department detained a former FBI agent for no apparent reason. It was a bizarre and ridiculous incident. As it turned out, Roger Golubski, a former detective, had been falsely accused of assaulting two black women between 1998 and 2002. There have been 2 accusations, to be exact. The real question is, however, how did the Kansas City police force allow him to get away with it for so long? Roger Golubski's unsolved case was discovered by the FBI while it was looking into the Kansas City Police Department's behavior. The former detective had a history of sexually assaulting women over the course of his 35-year career as a police officer and had been trading drugs for information. Lamonte McIntyre, a young black man, was accused of committing a double homicide by Golubsky during his time as a police officer. McIntyre was ultimately freed after serving 24 years in prison without proper cause as a result. Golubsky was taken into custody by the FBI on suspicion of 6 counts of sexually assaulting 2 black women. He has since entered a not guilty plea. Despite the jury rejecting his lawyer's request for release on medical grounds, he was kept in custody for routine medical examination. Black woman Rhonda Tribute, whose corpse was discovered in 1998, was one of Golubsky's informants. Her case remains unsolved despite the fact that the investigation was started but never finished. She died, and Golubsky's involvement is now being called into question by many people. That is exactly what we are saying. Many civil rights advocates across the nation have praised the arrest of Golubsky, but it also raises serious questions about police behavior and the abuse of their authority. According to Tricia Bullnell, the director of the Midwest Innocence Project, a full investigation into the abuses in Wyandotte County and systematic reforms are needed to ensure that no other police officers and public officials can continue to abuse their power. As more of Golubsky's crimes were discovered, it became clear that the Kansas City Police Department needed significant restructuring. Several inquiries remained unanswered as a result of the FBI's inquiry into the department. Roger Golubsky's arrest was long overdue, but it's worth noting that it was the FBI, not the Kansas City Police, who brought him to justice. Next up, with the arrest of 2 Drug Enforcement Administration officers by the FBI in Nassau County, Florida, the situation has unexpectedly turned around. The DEA, a law enforcement organization renowned for its aggressive efforts to combat the drug trade, has charged 2 officers with drug-related offenses. But the system's level of dysfunction clearly remains unclear. While selling drugs, including cocaine, that had been seized to willing customers, Sergeant James Hickox was captured with his hand in a cookie jar. His greed knew no bounds as he also combined drugs with other substances to make up the weight difference and kept parts for himself. In his bedroom closet, the FBI discovered 3 shoeboxes, each containing $100,000 in cash. They also discovered another $200,000 hidden in his garage. Hickox claimed that he borrowed the funds for his claim by partaking in his gambling habit when asked where the money came from. Hickox's actions have hurt the DEA's reputation and are obviously a breach of his obligations as a law enforcement officer. Joshua Erie, a highway inspector, had been covered in the same drugs that had to be seized, even going so far as to legally approve the prescription of 43 oxycodone pills. He purchased drugs from drug dealers. As if that weren't enough, while under the influence of drugs, he acquired a gun, due to the fact that he was trusted with the law rather than the law itself. Erie's actions were not only wrong, but also dangerous. The surprise arrest of these officers leaves the public wondering just how pervasive corruption is within law enforcement organizations. Sheriff Bill Leeper expressed his dissatisfaction by saying, "I think we need to make sure law enforcement personnel who violate the law are held accountable. When I learned of the accusations, I was shocked, let down, repulsed, and beyond angry. These incidents where the police ran into the FBI were some of the most shocking ones. We now look at our last and final case. A significant mishap that made headlines involved the case of mistaken identity between a Florida deputy and an FBI agent. When he received a call from a man claiming to be an FBI agent and asking to meet him in a nearby parking lot, Officer Gordon found himself in a precarious situation. This is a classic illustration of what can go wrong if a person doesn't confirm the identity of the person they're meeting, especially when speaking to a police officer. I do, but I don't understand what the problem is with your meeting me at the office. I'll talk to the U.S. Attorney's Office about it. Cut off the recording device now." "Okay, well, I will when I leave the area, sir." "Well, I will when I leave the area, sir." Asked the officer to turn off his recording device. Suspicions should have been aroused. However, Officer Gordon continued to record the conversation, a classic move. This was a wise decision as well, because it provided proof of what had happened, which, as you can probably guess, didn't turn out too well for Officer Gordon. Despite Agent Hatton's efforts to persuade Gordon that he was an FBI agent, the officer was skeptical and demanded to know how the agent obtained his phone number. Given the predicament the officer was in, it is not shocking that he requested assistance and handcuffed Agent Hatton. However, things started to spiral out of control. It got worse when Hatton shut the car door, especially considering how hot it was in Florida. It's fortunate that Agent Hatton's condition didn't worsen because Gordon made a bad choice in doing this. Concerns were raised by Officer Gordon regarding Agent Hatton's investigation into the actions of law enforcement agencies in North Florida. Agent Hatton's claims that he was an FBI agent may not have been taken seriously by the officer because he was aware of the widespread corruption within the police department and worried about being connected to it. Let's say his ego overcame him. The hour-long incident took place on December 20 in a parking lot off U.S. Highway 98 in the coastal fishing community, 45 miles southwest of Tallahassee. Due to the heat, Agent Hatton, who was shielded from the elements by a bulletproof vest and had limited access to air conditioning, started to experience health problems like nausea and suffocation. He, however, avoided a fatal situation by being taken to a nearby hospital, where he received treatment for dehydration and heat exhaustion before being released. What do you think of our list? Do you think there are more corrupt officials out there? Sound off in the comments below. And while you are at it, make sure to hit subscribe and leave a like for more such content. Thanks for watching.